Card number 71 from the Bowman Color set, Paul Minner of the Chicago Cubs, who was winding up there for the photographer in the Polo Grounds. So if it is card number 71, it must be session number 71 of Card Room Live. Welcome, everybody. Just a reminder, this is not a show. This is a hangout for fellow vintage collectors. Although, if you don't collect vintage, that's okay, but that's all you're going to hear about. So just a warning. Sometimes we have guests. We have some guests tonight, but most of the time we just waste time looking at and talking about crusty old cardboard. And through it all, we try to make it time well wasted. Happy Sunday evening to all of you. If you're here tonight, I hope you'll talk in the chat. You'll introduce yourself in the chat, especially if you're new to the chat. I just got a bunch of new subscribers. Here's my one and only YouTube tip that I'll share with you just off the cuff. Those of you that are YouTubers, if you haven't done so already, you should really think about making a 2023 recap. I did one, and I've done one for the past couple of years. And I just do it for fun because it's kind of cool to look back over the year and see how things went and share that. But I got like 15 new subscribers over the past couple of days just from that video. So, if you want to find new subscribers and make new connections, make a recap video and share what you got over the past year. So if you're new, welcome to Card Room Live. You're in for a treat tonight because we have some guests. If you're listening to this later, you're still going to have a good treat, but you might be going to work. You might be coming home from work. You might be sorting cards. You might be looking at eBay. You might be walking the dog, sitting on the john. You might be wondering if Nina S. or Alan's Cards or Jesse Think Blue 77 or Reese ND Card Ranger will ever make another video. And you might get an answer to that question tonight. Whatever you might be doing, I hope you get something out of this and that you that it passes the time for you well. If you want to get in touch, if you have any ideas for future sessions or you just want to chat, you can always email me at bowman53channel@gmail.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Bowman53_Alex, and you can find me on Twitter, 1953 Bowman Color. You can always find that information located in the description below. So just really quickly to take a look at the chat. Peter's here. Hello, Peter. Hitman23 is here. Dom is here. Rick is here. And Don says, let's hoe. So we'll follow Don's advice. Dean is here. What's up, Dean? Larry is here. Hammer44, happy Sunday to you. Hey, Reese is here. Cool. Kurt in Brooklyn is here. Hugo is here. What's up, Hugo? Lots of great people. Mookie's here. What's up? Jason is here. So we got a lot of great people in here. It is live time. So I got some guests waiting in the wings, and it's time to bring them on. If you saw my post earlier today, we're going to be talking to some former, well, I shouldn't say former. We've got some fellow YouTubers that maybe haven't made a video in a little while. And I don't know where this idea came from, but I thought, you know what? I want to catch up with these guys. I text with them all the time, but I wanted to kind of talk to them in the live stream. And I asked each of these folks if they'd be willing to do it. And after some gentle cajoling, let's say, they agreed to do it. We've got 3 of them here with us, and there's a 4th that will hopefully be joining us in a bit, but he might have to kind of fly in at the last minute, Han Solo style. So we'll see if that happens. But I'm going to start to introduce these folks, and these are going to be YouTubers that many of you guys, I'm sure, know. And if you don't know them, I'm going to share their links here in the chat, one at a time here. I'm trying to be organized here and share their links so that you can subscribe to these folks, because these are all great YouTubers that are definitely people that you should be checking out. And this is going to be fun because we're going to see what they've been up to, and maybe, get to see what's on their minds, and maybe things that they've been collecting, even though they haven't been posting videos. So let's get started. The first person I want to bring in here is Nina S. Nina, how are you?
Good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing great. I just posted Nina's channel link in the chat. So if you're not subscribed to Nina, you should definitely follow through on that link. Nino, do you remember roughly, I didn't look it up, but do you remember roughly when the last time is that you made a video?
It's been months.
It's been months, right? Okay.
I think I did my art video when I got back from art camp. So that doesn't really count. I think baseball was probably like 8 months ago.
8 months ago. Okay. Well, you break that record tonight. This is your next video right here. Okay. Next we've got Alan from Alan's Cards. Yeah. Alan, how are you?
Doing well. How are you doing?
Doing great. Glad to see you here. Thanks. Just put Alan's Alan's link in the chat. So Alan, what about you? Do you remember roughly like when the last time is that you made a video?
I didn't remember, but I looked it up and it was 9 months.
9 months. Okay. Okay. Not too long ago. Here's a good question. When are videos vintage? And we also have Reese, ND Card Ranger. Reese, what's up?
Hey, Alex. What's up, man?
Good to see you. And Reese's link is also in the chat. So again, if you're not following Reese, if you're not following Nina or Alan, you should definitely subscribe to their channels. We have one other guest, hopefully, but we'll see if he's able to join us at some point. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So I sent you guys a couple questions, but I will say this: if anybody has any questions for any of these folks, whether it's an individual question or a question for the group, I will keep my eye on the chat. And so if you guys have any questions for these folks, let me know, and we'll definitely bring those questions into the fold. So I promised these guys that I would not badger them about not making YouTube videos. I guess I kind of already did, but I promise there won't be any more of that. We're going to keep this civil, at least in the live stream portion. I can't control the chat, and Don from Don's Games is a wild man. So, so before we get started, for anybody that doesn't know your channel, Nino, I'm going to ask you to get us started. Give us a sense of your collecting focus.
Right now, my collecting focus is still vintage. I'm in the world. I'm set collecting the 52 Bowman.
Yeah.
And I'm actually at about. I was talking to your guest last week, Kurt, and actually I'm at 90%. So I'm pretty darn close to the end of the tunnel, but it's a lot of high number that I'm still needing, and of course the Mantle and the Maze. All right, this is just supposed to be an intro. We'll talk more about that later. I was born back in and I also collect. I'm a child of the 70s, so I collect 70, 71, 72 tops, and I'm also a Cleveland Guardians, Cincinnati Reds fan, mostly Guardians, so I collect modern too.
Awesome. Alan, we'll jump to you next.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks. I've tried to limit my focus over time. My main collecting is pre-war, but I go back to T206. Haven't gone back farther than that, and will try to stop myself at 1957. I've also tried to stop myself from oversized cards, so just really narrowing my focus down to things where I can kind of hit my goals and get the cards that I've always wanted. trying to stop at 57 just due to the couple of the rookies that are in that set before it gets out of hand and goes into everything you can imagine.
Right. Cool. And Reese?
Yeah, I focus on vintage, really like just my baseball history. I don't really have like a specific time frame, really. Phillies, absolutely, and like Nina, modern too, because I collect Phillies and some new players I like, and some of the hopefully future stars of the game too. But mostly vintage and Phillies is my focus.
Right. I mean, honestly, at this point, Reese, when I think of you, I think of Richie Ashburn at the
Yeah,
same
Richie Ashburn's
time. Like for
my
me,
favorite.
those two names are synonymous. So um, that's what you've done. Um,
That's a good feeling. I like that.
cool. um, before we get into the cards, so don't worry, guys. There will be cards shown in this video. I asked these guys to pull some cards to show. But before we get to the cards, I had a general question that I wanted to ask all of you. And Nina, again, we'll start with you. Is what's been going on in your hobby life? Can you give us an overall sense of your past year? Because as it turns out, you guys all kind of roughly maybe haven't made a video in the same amount of time. So what's been going on in your collecting life?
So I am retired, which means I can pretty much do whatever I please. But that's very interesting because sometimes, things get in the way of each other. So it's still great. Retirement is great. But I've kind of slowed down. I would say I have plateaued right now, maybe waiting for the next plateau or to rise up out of this plateau.
Right.
I don't know if I got distracted with the art that I've been focused on. And I kind of got into this mode. So when you're my age, sometimes you're like, whoa, 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 why are you collecting all this stuff?
Sure.
What my time on Earth is probably shorter than what I've already lived. And not to be, I'm not trying to be morose, but it just comes a time in life. But so what this year I've done that I've really been excited about is I've been giving away tons and tons of modern cards. Alex and I talked maybe in the late spring, early summer,
Yeah.
and about kind of how they were weighing me down. They're just boxes and boxes. And I have found lots of kids to give cards away. And boy, that, I had my classroom before that I could do that with, but there's just nothing like giving people cards. It makes me feel good. And I feel like, okay, maybe I'm passing this hobby on then to the next generation. That's my way of saying, here's your jumpstart kit. So go for it.
Right.
So that's kind of what I've been doing.
I love that. I mean, the fact that you took something that at first was maybe a hassle or a frustration in terms of maybe the modern cards that you felt weighed down by and turned it into this positive thing is, something that I think people can get an experience out of that can help, because there are times where you do feel weighed down by your collecting and it is time to kind of stop and take stock and reassess.
And modern can really get away from you. I'm a super fan of Mike Go, and I love his sales. And Reese and I hang out there, and he shows a card. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And
Right.
whoosh, all of a sudden, it's mine. But
Right.
it just stays in a pile somewhere. I'm like, oh. So yes,
Right.
I'm happy to pass it along. And if it's weighing you down, I would encourage any of you. Anything that's weighing you down, before you get to be my age, go ahead and release it on to somebody else. So,
Right. Alan, how about you?
Well, it's hard to follow that. I can't say I've been as charitable, but I'll give it a shot. Similarly, I've been trying to almost downsize, but I wouldn't say downsize intentionally, but just kind of consolidate into the collection that I've kind of always wanted. So I've been trying to focus on a few key cards this year, a few key sets. I try to avoid set collecting and player collecting just to keep that focus. And so, I was able to make it to the National this year and a couple of other local shows. I was able to kind of divest a few things and turn it into some things that I've always wanted. Still not where I want to be eventually. Obviously, none of us will ever get there, but
Right.
I've been able to make those moves to hopefully get closer.
So it sounds like you changed your like collecting rhythms or your habits a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. So I was focused on certain players, Jimmy Fox, Willie Mays, and I realized that I'm not a player collector. I'm not going to go for the 40 oddball cards where there might only be pop 3 or pop 5. Not that I dislike low pop cards, but I found myself really realizing that I enjoy the cards that I've always seen in magazines and books. So I just a 33 Gaudy to me is just as special, if not more so, because I knew that card as a kid, and I knew I may never have it. Now I can and do have some of those. So those types of things is what I've leaned towards, and things that I've gotten rid of were nothing against them. I love these cards, but like the Redman, I had quite a few of those. The Maze Redman, I was able to force myself to part with that so that I could focus on the traditional Maze card that I might have always wanted, even though I like them both. It's just the one that I wanted more. Keep my collection in a reasonable size as well.
Right. That sounds great. Reese, how about you?
Yeah, this is interesting. So, um, couple of you have done this, but actually Nina was the one who was the last driving force where I was already trying to refocus like what I was collecting. I think I shared that with you, Alex, in the beginning of the year. But then I went through after Nina had talked about this, and I purged. Now mine wasn't modern. Mine was I'll say jump rack just because everyone knows what that is, but 80s, 90s that I had buckets of. And I ended up giving away and at a yard sale thing like 14 boxes of all those cards and thinning things out that I didn't want anymore. And so I've been, I don't want to say slowing down, but just refocusing on cards I really want
Hmm.
and what I'm really collecting, and that's why I said baseball history because I realized like I'm not a vintage pre-war. I just like I'll read a story or hear someone talking with someone or see in a movie, and then that inspires me to add that guy to my list. And he may go to the top, middle, bottom, I don't know, but that's kind of my mode now of like, who am I into this month and what is the most exciting card I can find, in vintage especially.
Right.
But I still do my Philly stuff with Maiko. I mean, I get my team sets and stuff. I love to track my team sets of the Phillies but I feel like I'm getting reorganized. I'm still working on my room actually. I have some ideas. One last idea I want to do, and yeah, I mean, thanks Nina
Wait,
for the push.
Reese, did you just say you have a card room?
I'm working on. My office is now going to be my office card room. Yes, I'm working on
Okay.
it. Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna write the date down.
Okay.
See
What
how
is
long
that?
it takes you to show us the card room.
Okay. All right. It's not gonna be too much, but I have a. Well, I'll give you one thing that I want to do. That I'll show you one thing I have here. I'm going to start it with is um, I'm going to get something new. I know what I want to get to organize my cards and store them in, but I want to start collecting like pinhole cards, legit pinhole cards in the wild, and make a board of pinhole cards. Just like the kids used to do in the 50s. But it doesn't have to be a great player, just a cool card, pins up there, and I want that to be part of my card room, kind of like the nostalgia of it all.
Any card can be a pinhole card if you want it to be.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
could
gonna
even
make
crack
pinhole
open a
cards.
slab and do it, right?
I'm not gonna make them, but I'm gonna as I find them. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, but yes, that's where I am right now.
That's great. Are you familiar with Mookie Chilson's channel?
No, I'm
Okay,
not.
you should definitely look up Mookie's channel if he's still here. Mookie's a fan of pinhole cards.
Okay, sweet.
Um, so you guys might be able to connect on that front. That's a great idea, though. I love that idea because it's like it's a nice, healthy reminder of where this
Yeah,
all started.
right. Any card, right? It doesn't matter who it is.
No, I mean, I think that's cool because when especially, I don't know, something about getting the 50s cards that are like that,
Yes.
because
Yep.
that kid that, you know, put it, or girl, put it
Mhm.
in their little, shorts pocket and carry the thing around, and now it's all beat up, or it's got the pinhole where they stuck it on in their wall. or there's a piece of tape because their sister ripped the card or something. I don't know. It's just
Yeah.
something about that loved card that would grade absolutely -5 or something.
Yeah, it's like, it might be a player I never heard of, but it was good enough to be on someone's wall, right? It was pinned up on someone's wall.
Yeah,
So
Right.
it's just kind of a cool. So that's my last thing I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to do all that. But yes, yeah.
That's a fun
Awesome.
idea. Oh, well. Look who's late to the party.
Yay!
Late, but I made it.
What's up, man? Good to see you,
What's
Jesse.
up, guys? Good to see you guys. Nina, Alan, Reese, how's it going?
Good.
Great.
Fantastic. Now the party starts. Jesse, just in case anybody doesn't know you already, can you give the audience a sense of your collecting focus?
A little bit of everything.
Done.
Yeah. Dodgers, vintage, modern, everything. A little bit of everything. Magazines. Just whatever draws my attention.
Fantastic.
No.
Well, I'll tell you what, Jesse, since you just walked in, the next question is show some of your favorite pickups of the year. I don't know if you have anything handy with you, but it can be anything. It doesn't have to be just cards.
I have a few things. I haven't really picked up much this year. Like waiting for prices to come down. They're down now, so probably beginning of the year I'll start again. But a lot of binder stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I just got this one in right here.
Hey, Johnny.
Nice.
Ooh,
Johnny.
right there. And this one here. I like this
Oh,
All-Star.
wow. Nice.
A lot of glare there. But yeah, honestly, just a lot of binder stuff. Like still working on my 80s stuff. Got these two as well. The Nestle and the Bow. Just keeping it light, not too crazy.
Mm-hmm.
This I have been getting into still.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the old late 1910s, early 20s gloves. So those I'll always be into. So
If anybody ever has questions about gloves, Jesse's the guy to ask. How many gloves do you think you have at this point, like roughly?
That I've kept so far, I think I have about 22 maybe now.
Wow.
I don't have a lot, but I
Jesse,
had a few.
do you get most of your gloves at card shows or eBay, or like what's your
eBay? There's nothing like that at shows over here. A lot of this stuff is all East Coast mostly.
Okay.
Oh, eBay finds.
Okay, Nina, how about you? Anything you want to share that you maybe picked up this year? But it doesn't have to be something new.
I got a couple I want to show you, but these are mostly cards that people have given me this year
Nice.
to add to my 52 collection. But I want to rewind a minute. Alan talking about benevolence. Like twice in my life, in my entire life, Alan has sent me these beautiful Bob Feller cards. He'll just be like, Nina, do you have, he'll text me, Nina, do you have this Bob Feller? I'm like, no. All right, what's your address again? I'm like, Alan, wait, what do I owe you? He's like, you do not owe me anything. Just give me your address. I'm like, Alan, oh, he's so sweet. Anyway, let me show you a couple of 52s that I have picked up this year. First, Reese gave me this one now. Let's see how the light is going to be on these.
Oh, wow.
Randy Hamner. Why can't I?
Little work of art.
Oh, well, this is not going to be too great. And then Don gave me this. It's the 1952 Bowman, Eddie Stanky, from Eddie Stanky's collection.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow.
I wish I could make this so if I go over here, is that better? Anyway.
Maybe tilt it up a little bit.
Up, down.
No.
I got too much light going tonight.
There you go.
There, that's
That's
a little
good.
better.
Blame the Christmas tree.
Blame the Christmas tree, but that's no, I'm not taking it down. And then this is a card that Terry showed off, and I just love it. He and I both love the striped socks on Billy Pierce.
Oh yeah, that's sweet.
And his wind up. I don't know, gosh.
Oh shoot, now I'm gonna write that card down. Thanks a lot.
I know it's just a beautiful, beautiful card.
Who was that? Was that Billy Pierce?
Billy Pierce card 54. And then Brian helped me B Roth
Yep.
Hard Soup helped me to kind of zoom in on this Warren Spawn.
Yep.
Don't you just love that? I like the fence in the back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it says grandstands on
Mhm.
that little arrow. Great.
Yeah. So I have some more, but let's just put a stopper in Nina for a minute and let's hear what these guys have.
For sure. Alan, how about you? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, a few things I've been working on. One is the 38 Gaudi, not the set, but just trying to accumulate a few of the key players. It's kind of like, to me, Diamond Stars, unique in the 30s outside of the Gaudi.
Yeah.
So I was able to get a few that I didn't have. So I've got the Bobby Dorr.
Oh, cool.
Clearly. Charlie Gehringer. Greenberg.
Wow.
Ducky Medwick, which is an interesting facial expression.
Yes.
And then this was one of my kind of bigger additions for the year. So I was able to get sorry for the glare, like everybody else. So I've got 7 of these now, and I think that's my stopping point for 38 Gaudis. And the other thing I've been working on, I could save some of these for later, is T205. So I've been trying to turn my T206s from action into portraits. So I had quite a few of the kind of, Walter Johnson. I had a Ty Cobb bat on shoulder from pre-COVID days, but I was able to turn some of those into portraits and then also get the T205 counterparts for each of the kind of 5 achievable key players. So
Right. Oh, that's a great idea.
Nice.
Ty Cobb, the pair of Walter Johnsons, which for some reason was maybe the hardest to come by. I'm always looking for things that are centered, and the T206 was hard to find in reasonable grade. You can see 1.5 will be a theme through most of my cards. And then probably my favorite, I think, because it's the red and the Boston, but the T205 speaker.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Nice.
I'll pause there and let others go as well.
Really cool. Reese, how about you?
Oh, my turn. Yes. So I have to show the first card. This was a big deal to me. It's I finally got my Mathewson at the last card show.
Oh, whoa.
That's
Yay.
a big card for me. It took a while to get this one. But,
Beautiful. That's a great looking 2.5.
Yeah. Brian looked at it with me too. I found it and took him to look at it at the show. But not my favorite thing of the year, and hope Jesse doesn't mind. Jesse sent me this. This, I don't even know what year it's from. I was trying to find out. I was talking about it, but this is a signed postcard of Ashburn.
Nice.
Early photo and postcard. I don't know what year it's from. I know it's early enough, but Jesse sent me. Oh, it's amazing. But he also sent me. I don't know if you remember. I have the Ashburn glove that Jesse helped me find.
Yeah, right.
He actually sent me a Robin Roberts glove to go with my Ashburn glove. So I have
Oh, man.
a Robin Roberts glove and an Ashburn glove from the early 50s, and he sent me this. So this is maybe my favorite pickup of the year, to be honest. So thank you, Jesse. I have it in my
No
office.
problem.
Right? I have it in my office every day. So the other one I just picked up at the show that I've been looking for a while too is the Musial Red Heart.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's one I want to get right there.
Yeah. The signing's decent, but the color, everything was great, and the price was great. So I just jumped on that. But yeah, I've been really loving Wheaties. I don't know if 51 and 52. So
The
when I was talking about
cereal, or
oh,
I didn't know if this was like a side story.
no, I like Lucky Charms as well. No, but 51 and 52, the 51 premiums and the 51
Oh
Wheaties.
yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this actually has 2 pinholes. This will be on my board eventually. Maybe I shouldn't put this on the board, but I'm going to. But I just love this image. I have the Ashburn 51 Wheaties premium, but I've been trying to pick up. So these are the 51 Wheaties, and I'm
Yeah.
trying to get them with the orange border, you know.
Yep, for sure.
So I found this raw of Feller, which is, to be honest, the border. I mean, it could be beautiful. There's a lot of border there, and the same with the Musial. I mean, it's really cool. 51 Wheaties and Musial. So
Can you
I've been
hold up that Feller one again? I mean,
sure.
that one
Yeah.
definitely looks like some kid cut that out, you know, which is
Yeah,
what
which
makes
is
it
fine.
endearing too.
Exactly right. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Yes. So that's, same. This one looks a little better. But the last one I'll show, and then is another pickup from this show is the 55 Rawlings of Musial.
Yeah.
And this one is not well cut either. I mean, it was definitely by a kid. You can't really see, but the top's off of it. It's crooked. If it was a grown up, they have some scissor skills that are lacking, but it's definitely a beautiful example. And again, it's, it's the kid probably cut this out back in the day, which makes it even better. So,
And they had to cut it out of a box, right? So
yeah, it was on
somebody taking
his Rawlings glove box. There was 6 cards in the box, and that
Yeah.
was one of them. Yeah, yeah. So
I always
really
feel
enjoy
like those Wheaties cards are highly underappreciated. I think they're gorgeous and
I love them.
super
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I'm trying to get all the 52s. There's 10 players, 2 cards of each action and portrait. So slowly trying to get those with the blue border as well. Yeah, yeah. Some fun stuff from the year.
Fantastic. Well, you guys have been busy, which is cool to see. I mean, that's it's kind of a side thing, but sometimes it sort of feels like if you're a YouTuber and you're not making videos, it means that you're not collecting, but that's obviously not the case. Sometimes it's just you're not making videos because you don't have time for it or because you've got other obligations or whatever. But it doesn't mean you've stopped collecting. And it seems like you guys are all still into it, maybe not as much as before or whatever, but it's kind of cool to see that you guys are still out there getting stuff. So I asked you guys a terrible question, but I thought it was, just to sort of torture you guys. But the question was to pick one card that you feel like epitomizes your collection and your love of collecting in baseball. One card that you'd never part with. And if there's a story attached to that, you can share the story. Who wants to go first? Were you guys able to find a card? All right, Jesse.
No, I'll go last. I gotta go get it.
Okay.
I'm gonna let Alan or Reese go first.
Yeah, I don't have mine either. I have to get mine.
I can go first. Although
I'll be right back.
I think I don't have as many cards as they do anymore, so it's easy for me to find mine. So mine is this E121 Babe Ruth montage. So not a huge story behind it. It was a pickup this year in auction, part of the consolidation I've been doing, focus on some of the key players, that I really like: Ruth, Williams, Fox, Gehrig. But to me, the reason I really like this one and wanted to focus on it was because of kind of the link between the earlier 1900s and the 1930s. To me, Ruth as a player and this set, something in between kind of the tobacco era and the Gowdy era, the gum era. This set, I've got the Hornsby, one of the Hornsbys as well. It just kind of fit so well in between and made that connection for me. And I love the images and how they're real pictures, instead of some of the Gowdies and tobacco cards, which are, in times great illustrations, but this being a real picture was another key factor for me.
Sure, and I really like the design of it. It kind of reminds me of a movie poster, and the fact that you've got like the large Ruth and then the player image of him at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. It could have easily been used for the movie about him. Yeah.
Right, right.
You know,
Okay, you guys
Alan, I
ready?
want to ask Alan a real quick question.
Go for it. Yeah.
So, Alan, so it seems like you kind of morph your collection, I don't know, every year or so. And so, do you have like a end of year session with yourself, or you lay them all out and you're like, okay, these guys, nah, I'm not there yet. I mean, is there a process that you could share with us?
I think it's just that process of, from my perspective, regret. I find myself veering off the path and finding out what I've done, and that some of the things I bought aren't really what I wanted to focus on. Just my personal path. Starting back, I collected really young. Got to kind of luckily back into it pre-COVID, and I sold tons of raw vintage cards and reinvested that. I've sold complete sets, 70s, 80s, basically almost all of them, just because the volume of cards for me wasn't what I was looking for. It was just the few key cards and the ones that I've always wanted. And I knew I could always add some of those back later if I really wanted to.
Right.
So, I feel like it's, 2 steps forward, 1 step back, fall off the wagon, and try to get back on again.
Mm-hmm. You're just kind of zooming in on really what's important to you.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely key players, key sets. Try to stay, like I said, mainstream. It's not as exciting. Not as much oddball stuff anymore. But just getting those cards that have always been on my, in my mind and in the books from when I was a kid.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Real quick before you guys show some cards, there's an important question here. I don't know if you guys realize this, but you're on a panel right now. Will any of the panel be attending this year's national?
It depends how big the fee is for participating on the panel.
I guess that's a no then.
Yeah, I do plan. I do plan to be there at this point. Yeah,
it's in my home state, so I have really no excuse.
Right.
Yeah, no,
Jesse?
I don't.
No.
plan on it right
No.
now.
Okay.
No.
the hard part
Burbank
to
shows for
navigate-
me.
Right.
It's hard to navigate the kids' summer plans too. Sometimes,
Sure.
Unfortunately, they get veto rights.
Cool. I'm leaning towards yes.
Good.
So we'll see what happens. Reese, I see it already. You've already kind of
Oh,
spoiled.
man,
Go
yeah,
ahead.
sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's I don't want to get too sappy, but this is so. This is a card that I would never get rid of. This is the one that you think I'd pick an Ashburn but just because growing up, I was super close to my grandfather. He was my dad basically, and he talked about Satchel Paige, Whitey Ford, Murderers Row, and he just loved Satchel Paige. Like, talked about him, and so when I got this card, I was just over the moon, and just reminds me of just so many cool memories. So this would be the card I would keep if I had to take one and run, or that I would not get rid of. So
Fantastic.
that's my choice. Yep. Yeah.
I had some friends over today that saw my collection for the first time, and they said, "Alex, if there were a fire in your house, this is what you would grab, right?" It's like, yeah, absolutely. No, I mean, I don't think that's funny. It's like, yeah, of course. What else would I grab? Jesse, go ahead.
For me, this is like a childhood card that I always wanted. It was way out of reach at that time, But this one here, you'd think that, I'm a Dodger guy, but this is a card that I always gravitated to, always in the magazines and bet kits, and this one always stayed on my mind. This is the one that I actually went and pulled the trigger to a few years ago. So the Ernie Banks.
Right. Alan earlier was talking about how there's like these cards that you see when you're a kid that are sort of in your mind, like super special cards.
Yeah. And then these two here.
Oh yeah.
You guys know I like collecting Vince Scully items, so these right here, super rare, very hard to find. So I finally came across them, and I would not let these go. This is his first Vince Scully's rookie year, 51 postcard, and then his 53, which is also just as rare.
Wow.
Very cool.
Those are cool, Jesse.
Those there.
What did you, Alex? What would yours be?
I pulled one that because I thought maybe somebody would ask, so I pulled one. But I tried to be a little bit more obscure, just to throw people off. I picked card number 43, Mike Garcia from the Cleveland Indians. Now you might ask why. And it's because when I look at this card, this is the very first card I got when I started building the Bowman set. And it's probably hard to see, but this is a Nearman 8, which is way too high a grade if you're trying to build this set. This was before I knew what I was doing. But I remember when this card came in, I was so excited by the quality of it and just having it in hand. I was like, this is going to be so fun to build this set. This is before I had a YouTube channel. So for me, this like takes me back to that excitement that I had when I first started collecting. And, you know, when you collect for like years and years and years, it starts to become old hat and you're kind of used to seeing the cards. And for me, when I look at this card, I remember that initial excitement that I had, which is hard to recapture, I guess, but I think it's good to remember the thing that got us jazzed about it in the first place. So that for me is a card that nobody else would grab if they were looking through my set, but like for me, it's a standout.
It's probably sitting right next to the Pee-wee, though, right?
Well, I've got a whole bunch of
That's right.
Yeah.
raw Pee-wees here, but yeah.
All right. Well,
It's
since
your
I have two hands, I pulled two cards. And actually, I live in a very, very hilly area, and last spring we had a tornado warning of all things, which is unheard of here. I'm very sorry for all the people who have been suffering this weekend in Tennessee. Very sad to hear about your tornadoes down there. But anyway, so I ran to, they say, go to your basement. And I took a family history book that there's only like 10 copies of this book. It's basically my family back to the 1600s. And then I pulled Jackie.
Oh, man.
I mean, you know, I've showed this card before, but this is probably the only Jackie I could ever afford anyway. But I don't know. It's just the whole package of this card. So Jackie, and then Chris from Missouri knows, and Big Scott. I'm a Johnny Bench fan from way back, and there was no way I had this card as a kid, and so it takes me back. I'm sure I would have loved to have this because Johnny Bench was the man for me in baseball. When I think of baseball as a kid, it's Johnny Bench. So,
not that I'm an authority because I don't have any of them, but that's my favorite Johnny Bench card. That card is just awesome.
Yes,
especially with the cup on it.
Yes.
All right. So somebody asked this in the chat, but I also asked you guys, where do you see your collecting headed in the near future? Do you guys have any? You know, some collectors like to have goals. And it's only natural to sort of start thinking about this at the end of a year. Do you guys have any 2024 goals, or do you have any goals for your collection in general? You guys have kind of mentioned a little bit of this here and there, but is there anything that you're thinking about in terms of moving forward? Reese, I'm going to start with you because it seems like it doesn't seem like you're thinking. It seems like you've figured this out already. Everybody else is thinking, but you're like,
no,
you're like, I know.
I've planned out 2024. No, I do. You know, like I said, I've been kind of trying to reorganize and focus. I have a hit list of like players that I want to focus on for vintage in 2024, and I'm actually going to dial back more on the modern stuff. Even the Phillies, I'm going to try to stick to a few sets that I like and not everything. Like I'm just trying to narrow my scope. But there's quite a few
Cool, Isaac.
and like specific cards I really want to go after in 2024. I won't get them all. I might get a few, but of some of the greats of the game. So I want like Chief Bender, Sam Crawford's like #1 on my list. and I have some cards of them that I have in my list and images of that I'm going to go after. So
Just out of curiosity, how did you kind of focus in on those guys? Were you reading about them or just looking at cards or?
yeah, reading about them. So Go to Other Times is always a huge. I still have cards from there that I'm still looking for.
Yeah.
A great book, Even the Browns. I think I mentioned that too. That's a great book on baseball, World War II. You know, around World War II and through World War II, and so like between all those type of books, I read a book on Bill White, which brought about some players that he knew, and like Willie Mays was on my list, but Willie Mays moved up my list because of that book. Um, so I have a specific list of cards, and the one set that I want to get one card from, either Chief Bender or um, oh my gosh, I just lost the name. Chief Bender or oh my gosh, I can't remember. Anyway, it's a T227, the series of champions set.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Home Run Baker.
Okay. Yes. Oh, yeah. That's a beautiful
Those,
card. Yeah.
those two cards to me are just beautiful, and so that's just kind of my focus in 2024 is kind of kind of quality in what I'm gonna pick up. So that probably
Right.
wasn't clear, but that's what I'm doing.
No.
No,
You did have an answer. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Awesome. Jesse, how about you?
Well, like you guys were saying, same thing, refocusing. I'm not trying to get as much anymore. Just cards I really want, like Alan was saying, just those cards that have been on my mind, and sticking to that. I made a list, checked it twice, and I'm gonna try and stick to that list and just go from there. I have a cabinet where I keep them on. I mean, I don't want to just keep adding to it. I just want to stay focused and just keep the ones I really truly want.
Right.
So that's where I'm at.
Right.
I keep saying I'm going to try and sell some, but I still haven't done it. I've been doing that for years, trying to say I'm going to sell some to get other cars, and I still haven't done that. So we'll see.
Yeah, there's some. I mean, I get that. There's so many steps involved that it's sort of crippling to think about that process. But I mean, not that it's that hard, I guess, but sometimes it's just hard to get that whole process started.
Yeah.
that's
Alan, how about
honestly
you?
why I give cards away, because it's such a hassle to sell the
So
dang
hard.
things.
Right.
Some people are like, "What? You're giving me this card?" I'm like, "Believe me, it's worth it for me not to have to list the thing."
Yeah.
Alan, how about you?
Yeah, I think similar to what I've heard so far. Crawford, actually, Reese is on my list as well. Probably a T206 to go with the other T206. I'll get no portrait, unfortunately, but one of the cards that I'd want, one of the players. I think George Sisler, Eddie Plank are two players that I've been looking to add. And the E95 set, I know we've talked about it in Card Room Live before. I've
Yeah.
got one, and I'm hopeful to add a few more of those. Just the colors, Reese. If you're looking for a Bender that's maybe not the 227, you could check out the E95. That's an incredible card. The colors on that is amazing. But and then I think I'm probably close to the end of my consolidation phase, but I always have cards where I'd be happy to downgrade or upgrade. I've got certain cards where maybe just the eye appeal isn't what I'd want long term, and some where I feel like I had overshot, for one reason or another, and I'm happy to downgrade if I can. I also don't like the selling process. It's much easier to buy than to sell. Just the stress of packaging and shipping and mailing and trusting that it'll get there. But kind of go in waves. You get used to it.
Right. Nina.
Well, Nina, based on, overall, let me just give you an overall picture. I like to read books about achieving goals, and like Atomic Habits by James Clear. I mean, it kind of helps me focus on the areas I need to focus on. And this one book I'm reading is called All It Takes Is a Goal by John Acuff. And there's 3 zones he believes that we reside in. One's a comfort zone, one's the chaos zone, and one's the potential zone. And I feel like in my collecting, I've been in both the comfort zone where I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just get that. Or I'm in the chaos zone of, oh, I'm going to get all of these things. And I'm trying to get myself into the potential zone. And that's why I was asking Alan about kind of his curation process. I want to, thanks to inspiration from Kurt last week, I'm so close to finishing the 52 Bowman set. I would like to complete it. I want to say I've completed this set. It's a beautiful set. I love it. I know that I can keep it and display different cards at different times, and that it'll be a valuable set no matter what. So
Yeah.
I want to finish it up with one caveat that I probably will never have the mantle. Well, never say never, but my dream for the national this year would be the 52 Bowman Maze, but we'll see. That's gonna take a little effort on my part to get that accomplished. So,
Well, Nina, that's potentially one of the cards that I was thinking about looking at for the national, so we can take our turn looking around and keeping an eye out for each other, and
okay, awesome.
maybe we'll find one or two, hopefully. Otherwise, we'll have to fight over it. So
Rip. Ah!
Cool. Well, we're reaching that time, almost 9:00. And I want to make sure that we give people a chance to head on over to the next live stream. But before we do, I want to say before we wrap this up that, I want to, all joking aside, these are 4 great people, 4 great collectors in our community. Happy to know all of you guys, and really appreciate you guys sharing your time and your passion and your stories. Clearly, you guys are in it for the right reasons. And if there's a takeaway here, it's that, it's great to make videos and it's great to share your collection on YouTube, but there's other ways to connect with people, guys, not just YouTube. So, I'm in touch with everybody here, and we've been texting on and off for the past, gosh, I don't even know how long. So
I think I blame that on why we're not making videos as well.
True. So technically, this is your latest video, guys. I personally hope that you guys will make videos because I miss seeing your guys' stuff. But I do see what you guys are collecting, and it's nice to hear from you guys, in other ways, whether it's texting or email or whatever. So anyway, those of you that are here, I hope you'll subscribe to these guys, get in contact with them. These are 4 amazing people in our community. And ultimately, that's what's more important than a channel is the person and the way they collect and, their knowledge and their passion. So Nina, Alan, Reese, Jesse, thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely. And so, guys, don't forget, there's another live stream from 4 collectors starting up at 9:00. So make sure that you check that out and head over to that. Not sure what we're doing next week, but I'll figure it out this week. We do this 1 week at a time, guys. Nobody's getting paid to do this. So
Wait, we're not?
So all that said, I hope everybody has a great Sunday night. Again, if anybody wants to get in contact with me or has ideas for future sessions, you can find all that information in the description below. Until next time, guys, have a great Sunday night. Take care. Thanks.
Merry Christmas.
Nice.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.